Buying your first home can be exciting, but it can also be overwhelming, especially as prices continue to rise these days. So if you're thinking about taking that big step, you might be wondering if now is the right time to do it.
Our Julissa Garza spoke with a new homeowner and a real estate expert to break down what first-time homebuyers need to know before signing on the dotted line.
It's no secret, buying a home isn't easy. And for many first-time buyers, the process can feel like a maze.
Back in the 80s, the average age of a first-time home buyer was in their late 20s. And today, the average age is around 38.
Paige Martin has been in real estate for 20 years and has watched the market shift. She says when it comes to buying a home, it's never too early to start.
You begin the conversation with, when do you actually need to move? Is your lease up in 6 months? Is it up in 12 months? Is it up in 2 months? And then you start backing out the time frame from there to decide when you need to put your team together.
That team, Martin says, is crucial. Having the right people guiding you can make all the difference.
Every buyer should interview multiple agents to make sure that they're making the right decision in their process.
Will Green closed on his home in February. At first, he focused on what the home looked like.
So my big thing is I wanted a two-story living room, so a tall ceiling, and then my fiance wanted a big yard, and so I was just looking for a house with a tall ceiling and a big yard.
But with the help of a hands-on agent, he started learning how many other factors play into the purchase.
Actually going through and figuring out what interest rate would you be able to get, whether or not you're in a floodplain or not, really can drive the overall bottom line cost of what you're going to be paying month to month. That isn't covered in Zillow necessarily.
There's a lot first-time homebuyers might not know going in, starting with the 4 key parts of your monthly mortgage payment.
Your principal, your interest, your taxes, and your insurance. And for the first time ever in my career, the insurance and the taxes piece of that payment is more than your principal and interest. So shopping that, understanding what those costs are.
And that's not all.
Our taxes are about 15% higher over the last couple of years, and your insurance, goodness gracious, those costs have gone up 40% since 2023. So it matters that you are sourcing all of that data when you're establishing your budget.
Overall, for first-time buyers, homeownership is more than a mortgage. It's a full-time financial responsibility. Martin says the key is do your homework, lean on people who know the market, and ask questions.
With the right insurance agent, the right lender, and the right real estate agent, you will find that you most likely save money, you save time, and you have a built-in insurance policy in those trusted advisors.
Reporting in Houston, Julissa Garza, KHOU 11 News.
Good advice. I would add, an agent you can trust, and friends and family have gone through the process, and just ask a lot of questions so you know exactly what you're doing.
You do not want to go into that process cold. Yeah,
Nope.
That's for sure.
Homeowners in the Houston area spend billions of dollars on homeowners insurance every year, and still, that may not be enough.
All week long, we're helping you navigate the complexities of home ownership, from choosing your provider to flood insurance to discounts. Today, we've got answers to your biggest home insurance questions. Some of the $2.2 billion Houston area homeowners paid for homeowners insurance last year went to flood insurance. So how necessary is that? Here's Scott Elmer with the Harris County Flood Control District.
I cannot overstress the importance of buying flood insurance. If you live in Harris County, you should purchase flood insurance, whether you're in the floodplain or you're not in a MAP floodplain. During some of our major storm events, Tropical Storm Allison, Hurricane Harvey, the vast majority of the flooding did not happen in MAP floodplains.
Remember, flood insurance takes effect 30 days after you buy it. Those along the coast may also need wind and hail insurance sold separately. What about basic home insurance? Where do we start? Here's Misty Highnote with the Texas Department of Insurance.
Well, we have a great website called Help Insure. You can go there and put in some basic information about your type of house, your background, and they'll give you a list of companies, some price quotes. Ask friends and family what company they use. Do you get a good rate? Do you like your company? Do they have good customer service? So ask around, ask some neighbors too.
And here are 3 ways to save cash. 1, always ask about discounts: security system discount, sprinkler system discount, new roof discount, senior discount, and others. And you decide your deductible. Want to pay less per month? raise the deductible, prefer a lower deductible, pay more per month, and consider bundling. Buying multiple insurance policies from one company, say home and auto or even life insurance, usually lowers your cost. Visit helpinsure.com anytime to compare insurance policies for free, or you can call the state's free helpline 8 to 5 Monday to Friday, 800-252-3439. All this week we're helping you stay informed about affordable housing options in Houston.
And today we're focusing on the age-old question, is it better to rent or to buy? A local real estate agent breaks it down, starting with renting.
A short-term commitment, you don't have to worry about repair, maintenance.
When leasing a home, the upfront costs are typically lower than the costs associated with buying a place. But realtor Delilah Pulido says the downside is the lack of equity because renters aren't building their wealth through ownership.
When you purchase a home, you have your pride of ownership, equity buildup, and you have your tax incentives.
But there are some cons to owning a home as well. So make sure that you buy a good insurance plan to protect yourself against any unexpected problems.
If something starts to leak, have a good home warranty that will help you, with leaks or a good flood insurance. That's money coming out of your pocket. However, it's a long-term commitment.
There's a lot to consider. Yeah, between renting and buying, it helps to have friends, real estate agent friends, and other friends who've been through the process.
Yes, they know. They know.
June is home ownership month, and we wanted to see what the housing market is looking like in Houston. Well, according to Houston Association of Realtors, there's a 4.9 month supply of single-family homes compared to only 3.6 months supply last spring.
Okay, in short, that means it's a buyer's market. Our Go-To Loca breaks down what first-time home buyers need to know.
Houston Association of Realtors, or HAR, found 40% of Houston area households could afford a medium-priced home in the first quarter of 2025.
Fewer homes closed last month than in April of 24, and it wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't like buyers switched their priorities completely.
So why the slight drop in house closings? We sat down with HAR's chair, Shay Cotter, to get more insight.
It's more like buyers just kind of went, wait a second, with everything going on, let's just pause for a second to see where these tariffs are going to go.
Right now, interest rates are roughly 6 to 7%, but companies like KB Homes found in a June 2025 survey that 83% of Americans still believe that home ownership is an important milestone.
At the end of the day, I'm like, people still buying homes every day, regardless of the market.
Real estate broker and agent Anthony Enney is helping Dante Pickett buy his first home.
New construction homes have so many different incentives. They have different interest rate programs.
Shay tells us those programs may include asking if the mortgage is a government-backed FHA loan.
Because if it is, that buyer might be able to assume that 3.5%, 4% mortgage rate if they can qualify for the same thing.
Buyers can also negotiate to have the sellers pay to decrease the rate.
You can buy a home and have your interest rate reduced for the first 3 years, up to 3%.
Buyers can get a resale home with an inherited rate or a new house with a rate that could go up significantly later after appraised. Anthony says builders like KB Homes offer new house perks that could cut costs too.
You get long 10-year warranties on some of your components of that home. These are appliances that can help you save more money. So you're saving more money on your electricity bill.
Buying a lot like this and having a floor plan built from scratch, Realtor Anthony says can usually be more expensive than getting an inventory home like the one right next door. Now, an inventory home is a home already in the process of being built by a builder.
While that home is nearing completion, if nobody's bought it yet, we're able to get an even better discount.
You have to know your situation, your financial history, your background.
Dante and his family move into their new house this month.
Having things that we can kind of secure and pass down to the next generation.
Ugochi Iloka, KHOU, 11 News.
Good tips for all of us, especially the hundreds of people who move into the area every day.
Yes, and don't know what to know.
Right.
So there you go. We have more information on how to find the best real estate agent for you and your family on our website, KHOU.com.
The next rainstorm is always just around the corner. Meteorologist Kim Castro shows us some available tools for anyone looking to buy a home and for new homeowners. Kim.
Yeah, Harris County has this interactive map showing the different floodplains across the Houston area. That means floodways that are likely to flood, a 100-year floodplain and a 500-year floodplain. Both of those are available. This is a super helpful tool for anyone planning to buy a home. But if you already bought a home and say there's heavy rain and the possibility for flooding, the National Weather Service has a different tool that's also available to the public.
So what we have are flood inundation maps or flood extent maps, which will actually show you the extent of the flooding further upstream and downstream of those gauge locations. It will have a analysis component where there's no forecast component to it. It's just what's currently being flooded. And then there are 2 other flood extent maps that are going to have forecast component to it, to where you would be able to see what are some potential ranges of flood impacts depending on what the rainfall forecast component is.
And through the National Weather Service website, you can see their predictions and real-time forecasting for the possibility of flooding in your area. Now, you don't see any in this video because they aren't forecasting any flooding for us, thank goodness.
I didn't know that that tool was available.
It's amazing.
That is a very good tool, especially
Helpful.
now. Yeah.
Definitely. That way you can make plans and prepare, perhaps, call ahead of time and make preparations for your home.
That's right. Get on top of it early.
Yeah.